I've been waiting a long time to do this little video. Uh, I meant to actually just do a review on The Promised Neverland like a while ago, but I never got around to getting to it because, like again, like I always say, I'm being held back by life. And I finally got around to it and saw the episodes, and because I meant to actually see this anime for a long time. Like I saw the trailers, and I'm not going to front. I was pretty actually intrigued by it. It actually did, got my attention. So as soon as I saw it was the time. As soon as I had to make this review, and ran about it and review it and tell y'all discussion and what's going on with it and how I felt about it, whatnot. And I know in the past, a lot of times I may say I've been, put out of anime, but to tell you the truth, I've been put out with a lot of stuff lately. Like I just lost interest for it, and although technically, yeah, I've seen this and this is anime, and I just got into it, I can still openly say that I can still openly say, yeah, I may be put out of anime, and I'm still seeing this, but it still doesn't mean it's going to jump me back on the horse. It's just something I'm seeing for. I'm just seeing that I meant to look at for a while that pulled me in, and I seen this and I'm like, okay, yeah, this is pretty good. This won't be the thing that will pull me back into anime. I actually, honestly, I don't think I'll be back in anime for a long time. I maybe just go back to looking at some old shit here and there, but this in general is actually pretty interesting and whatnot. It actually got my attention. I actually did really enjoy this, and I'll get into further details later. Of course, when I get more into this video. Uh, for starters, well, I want to make one thing abundantly clear. Just one thing abundantly clear. Uh, I was like totally surprised when I realized the main character, Emma, was a girl. Like, I don't know, or maybe every time I saw the trailer or saw the promotion posters or hell, even snippets in the manga, only seen like the top half torso and head of the character, and always assumed it was a guy from there. But no, when you zoom down, it's a skirt, and Emma, that's a girl's name. I put two and two together, like, yeah, that's a girl. So I don't know. That's just something I just had to spill out. And I kind of like the fact that this anime, the overall tone of this anime, actually knows what it is. It's not like a certain, anime about a knight who happens to slay goblins, where it just has to, keep throwing things. Just like what I said in my Happy Time Murders, my Happy Times Murder review. It doesn't have to keep, throwing darts to see what it will hit. What would be funny, and that's pretty much the same scenario I have with Goblin Slayer. And I know people on the internet for a long time, hell, even SJWs just hated it and bashing it because it was too edgy. That's the least. That would be the least of of my problems of that I have with Goblin Slayer. But more so, the reason why I was really put out of Goblin Slayer, because the same reason I'm pretty much bringing this up again. Same reason why I don't like. The same reason why I didn't like Happy Times Murder, and why I thought it was unfunny and was pretty much stupid and boring and whatnot. Because again, I feel like they were throwing darts at anything they can hit. Like if it wasn't gay jokes, they failed. If it wasn't incest jokes, it failed. If it wasn't penis jokes, it failed. Sex jokes failed. Incest jokes failed. Retarded jokes failed. Crude comedy failed. Dark comedy failed. I just feel like, just like Goblin said, it was just throwing darts at anything and seeing what would hit, what would work out, what would surprise you, what would gasp the audience, and just like Goblin Slayer, it was just like when I was just literally just sitting down looking at it, literally on my phone. I was just looking at it, I'm like, everything is just everything's a staircase, so to speak. Everything's built up to a staircase, but of course that's how you tell a story. But in terms of, the shock value, the jolt, the shakiness of it, the shakiness of it, how the attention wants to get out you, the suspense. I just feel like just like Happy Times Murders. It was just failing each time, each every time it was just failing. Uh, and, at first, it showed people getting raped, and one showed people getting violated and murdered, and then it showed a girl being scared to death, and she urinated on herself, and it only enticing the goblins to attack her more, and then it showed the Goblin Slayer slay goblin kids. It was just throwing darts at anything they could hit, and each time they were just failing every fucking time, and that's pretty much how I felt about Goblin Slayer, and that's what I'm doing in comparison to telling a dark story or a dark fantasy compared to Promised Neverland, where and so to speak, I feel like Promised Neverland actually does more or less hits the marks better. It hits the marks better, and it doesn't try to over exert itself, over saturate yourself for you to, to be enticing to you to be invoked by it a certain way. It's just everything all builds up. It doesn't have to depend on cheap tricks, so to speak, to enticing the audience, the viewer to find this as a really dreadful or really dark or miserable show in terms as the tone goes. Like, it did its job right. It adequately made the show gruesome when it needed to be, and it adequately showed the story when it needed to be dark. Promised Neverland does dark fantasy right. And actually, although I would pretty much just kind of be like really put down with the overall designs of the demons. I'll get to designs later, of course. That actually would be turn out to be one of the few many gripes with this, but I will usually be turned down the over exaggerated Yu-Gi-Oh monster looking ass demons in this show, but actually now that I looked at them, they actually kind of remind me of something from a Lovecraftian book. And although yes, despite of all the things of H.P. Lovecraft being a bigot and literally naming his pet cat Nigger Man, despite of all that aside, and of course, despite my ethical background, I still very do enjoy his literature. I can still separate the work from the artist, and Lovecraft and H.P. Lovecraft is literally a shining example of one of that. And the monsters in Promised Neverland really actually gave me that Lovecraftian feel, how they're designed, and their attributes, like their retractable tongue, their eyes are flounder like, they're pretty much on one side of the body, and they're cloaked like, and like they're all mystical and whatnot. So yeah, it just really gave me that Lovecraftian feel and atmosphere when I saw them in their designs and whatnot. So yeah, I'm gonna have to praise the Demon's design. Actually wasn't put down by it. They did look like Yu-Gi-Oh monsters, but I still actually did enjoy how they looked. They still enticed me, and I kind of did feel like, oh yeah, these are actually some decent looking monster designs. Really Lovecraftian. It's really spooky when it needs to be. And actually, in terms of thrills or even horror in this, I think it does it. This actually does it right. It's not just a sequence of jump scares that's really popular nowadays in modern day horror movies or TV shows, etc. I feel like the horror in this was actually like really utilized, like really adequately. Like at one point, when Emma and her little white haired friend, her little boyfriend, pretty much was hiding under the truck, and the demons kind of had a subconscious that someone else is there, and the mom, which actually really got me the most. Like she's the mom, the caretaker, like she's literally a shining example of a wolf in sheep's clothing, so to speak. Like she was all nice and caring and pretty and cutesy and welcoming and whatnot. And then as soon as they were auctioning off the kids to the demons for them to feed off of them, You know, it was just a flip mode, like Buster Rhymes. It was a flip mode, and everything just fucking turned, just went left. And actually that pretty much actually got me into the feel of it. The horror was pretty much done right and whatnot. Like she was just an entirely different new character in this series. Every time it came to auction off the kids, like she just had a subconscious like, is somebody there? But she found the bunny teddy bear. I'm like, oh, she left this back at the orphanage. So, and I guess Gamma and her and her little white haired boyfriend tried to give this back to her. So I gotta keep a bigger eye out or something on what's going on. Make sure these kids won't catch suspicion on what's going on and whatnot. So yeah, I feel like I did actually was really flabbergasted by her turn of character. You know how she was able to flip over and whatnot. And I really do hope the Lord, because I hope the Lord that this anime kind of doesn't lose track, because actually has a really pretty good story build up, the concepts to it, and the whole bonds between the kid characters that we later get to know as more as the show progresses and whatnot. Well, technically, just the first two episodes is pretty much as you get as their bond goes. It kind of gives me this Stand By Me, this type of thing going on. Like yeah, we're all together, but we're together, but in some way we're all different, and we're kind of getting to know what's the real approaching antagonist and what's really going on, and we gotta stick together and fight. We gotta stick together and take the fight to the enemy. In this case, being it, or well, yeah, for it would be Pennywise, but in this case, it would be the mother or the demons or that whole organization that's pretty much shooting them off in general. So yeah, it gives me that Stand By Me, Stephen King's it, feel to it, the Shawshank Redemption. It kind of really gives me that feel. So I feel like in terms of character relations, they actually do it right in this anime. So I'm gonna have to give a thumbs up on it. And like I said, one of the only real gripes I got about this is to be honest, is actually the overall art style of this anime. I mean, okay, hold on to me, but hold on when I say this. Yes, I know someone who replicates an animator who replicates the art from a manga cannot precisely and perfectly nail down the art style from the manga to anime. I get it. It's fine. It's not going to be completely 100% good. But even from seeing snippets of the manga, like how just welly detailed it is, the contour, there's the strokes are great. The contour is great. The penciling is great. The inking, the expression, the detail, the vulgarness within the art style that pretty much invokes attention and emotion and and whatnot. Just really JoJo artistic style. There's a lot of streaks and lines, and everything is welly detailed. Everything pretty much comes at you. That's pretty much how the Promised Neverland book is in a nutshell. And I actually praise the manga's art style for that. I actually want to get in the really, welly detailed art style. Everything pokes out like a sore thumb. Like I get it, but even as far, although they try to replicate it in the anime, I feel like Promised Neverland is like still like how it's drawn, animated was, is still like really cheaply just drawn. Like I mean, it does it in some places it looks like the manga. Like in terms of replication, of course, you can't, like I say, you can't completely catch lightning in a bottle. In terms of the art style, but I just feel like even Promised Neverland's art style, it's just so cheaply made, even on its standalone. And in terms of art style, standalone complex. But no, y'all get what I meant when I said that. I'm not referring to Ghost in the Shell, but yeah, I kind of already get an idea what I meant when I said that. I just feel like like the replication from manga to anime, like it was still just really cheaply made. Just like the Black Cat. Like I saw snippets of the Black Cat manga or snippets of the Busorankin manga, and the mangas are fucking great. Like they're awesome. How they're illustrated, they're great. And even and I know in replication to the anime, like yeah, you can't pull it off 100%, but just like Promise Neverland, Busorankin, and Black Cat, they still just look really shitty animated. Just really, the replication is just really shitty looking. It's just really ugly, really bad. And it can, some places kind of don't even look like the anime. Like it's just really badly illustrated and drawn. And that's pretty much the only gripe I got with Promise Neverland. It kind of doesn't even look like a replication of manga. In some places, it just look really cheaply made, just like Black Cat and Busorankin. And that's pretty much all I got. That's pretty much all I got to say about it. That's pretty much all I got to say about the only real, actually gripe, the only real negative trait, the only setback I have about Promise Neverland. It's really cheap animation and replication of drawings from manga to anime. It just could have looked like worlds better. The replication could have just been better. It could have been more spot on instead of just looking like really fucking cheap in these episodes. And I kind of hope they at least get better. But then again, the art doesn't really completely discourages me from something unless if the art's like really really bad or just really really incomprehensible or really distracted. Then yeah, that's when I gotta call it out. But actually, for the most part, the animation and overall illustration from replication to manga to animation could be worlds better. But that's pretty much my only gripe I got about it. Uh, I meant to bring up the whole people have this thing about this 3 anime mark. Like the 3 episodes has to take 3 episodes for you to like an anime. But honestly, as far as I go, being a critic, and this actually does really happen in critics in Hollywood, or big time critics in New York Times, or the Pittsburgh Gazette, all those people, or the Washington Post. It just always happens. Like it literally only just takes like it only takes like pretty much a half like a half an hour for you to actually say that a movie is good, because that's pretty much the time where you should adequately explain the characters, the story, the tone, the world, the situation. It only takes that. It takes those few things to just push what's going on. I don't have to look at 2 more episodes for me to actually like something. It takes one episode to adequately explain the gist of everything that's going on. Not 3, just 1. For the characters, for the story, for the tone, for the world, for the situation, for the stone settler, for the Kickstarter of the series, so to speak. It only takes 1 episode to adequately explain all that. Although, of course, they can't explain everything, because that's how you have to keep looking at it. But first episode's pretty much is the stone settler. It's pretty much is supposed to set you up for what's in store. It doesn't take numerous episodes aside from the first one to tell if it's going to be good or not. It takes 1 episode to pretty much get everything out. And even if before you make reviews like these, you have to see the episodes like 4 times in a row or 2 times to to get it all drilled in your head. And that's pretty much what it's pretty much like. 1 episode pretty much adequately is supposed to adequately explain everything from the bare minimal of what's going on of the story correctly. If the actual plot, which I shouldn't have known from the first episode, is non-existent in the first episode, but it becomes apparent in later episodes, then that goes to show you told a really bad story. Or if not a really bad story, then that means you can't adequately explain the plot of a story well, or the bare writing traits of a story well. That goes to show that you kind of failed as a writer. But I feel like, just like the first episode of Bleach, and amongst other things I can bring out, Bleach pretty much does it right. Avatar pretty much does first episodes right. They pretty much keep you enticed for the next episode. I feel like they all do those right enough. They all adequately do those right, which keeps you stuck into a story. And Promise Neverland does this concept correctly. It only takes one episode. For me, I'm not speaking out to anyone, but for me, it takes one episode to adequately explain the bare minimal of what's going on in the story and what said viewer will be insured for. And I feel like Promise Neverland did this right. So again, I'm gonna have to applaud it for that. Uh, I'm pretty much gonna have to give this anime so far an exceptional. It's pretty good, and I really hope that this it will be really great in the future. Like it will lead up to something really good and great. As the anime transcends and whatnot. Yeah, I already know. I look like Marvin Gaye with this hat on. I know that's what y'all was probably thinking while you've seen this video. I look like Marvin Gaye with this on, but no, seriously, all bullshit aside. But yeah, I just really hope on we'll be going on with this with Promise Neverland. How good it will get, or even how better it gets, because sometimes a story can only get better. Yes, I feel like some really good well stories just can't get worse unless if the artist must have choked, or they just got lazy and sloppy and said fuck it, we're gonna do what we want to do. I feel like that's pretty much how I feel about it. But you know what? They actually did do this right. They adequately explained this right. It was great. I actually did feel like the thrill of this, like it actually did entice me for it. Like I actually did feel fear, like it, like not fears and oh god, I'm about to piss my pants, but like I was actually concerned about if Emma and her white haired boyfriend was going to get caught, and actually at one point, just like comparison to Shao Tucker from Fullmetal Alchemist when he experimented on his daughter Nina Tucker when he was trying to make a chimera that can speak human language, and he pretty much conversed his dog and his daughter together. That's pretty much how I kind of felt like about when Connie got shipped off. Like, but I was kind of spoiled a bit, but I'm kind of the king of spoilers, to be honest. Geekdom 101. Place your bets, but no, I'm the king of spoilers, actually. Uh, and honestly, being spoiled by something really doesn't bother me, so I kind of knew what I was going to be in for when the plot thickened, and it kind of brought me back to Nina Tucker from Fullmetal Alchemist again. It kind of gave me that same thrill again. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is actually this is some fucked up shit. When you saw that, when you saw Connie just dead in that truck, and what was about to happen when the demon said it was about to harvest her and whatnot. I'm gonna get more later into the lore of how how the shipping of the kids work again, and probably in the next video. It's more I get into it, but yeah, that's pretty much what I gotta say about it. Yeah, it really actually pulled at some strings. It actually I actually felt emotionally invested in what was going on. I actually did feel sympathy. I actually did feel apathetic about the characters, or I did feel concerned about it, what was going on. It pretty much did its job right in terms of evoking emotion in the right way, and not just throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks. Goblin Slayer. But yeah, this does it right. That's pretty much all I gotta say about it. It was exceptional. It was pretty much one of the greatest anime I've seen of probably technically last year, but I just saw it like yesterday. So I guess for me this year, in terms of how anime goes for me, because I'm just so tanked out from a lot of shit, video games, anime, mangas for a while. I'm just already getting back into mangas, obviously, because from last year, y'all probably already seen my Burn the Witch review, and that's a manga, obviously. So yeah, I'm just already getting back into mangas. I'm just really put out with a lot of stuff. I pretty much just evacuated to YouTube and just saw a lot of fucking rants and reviews and discussion boards and rants videos. And honestly, it actually kind of inspired me to actually do shit like this myself, be a critic and make videos like this. Shout out to J Cloud Talks, Anime Talks. He has like really fucking good content. I do suggest y'all check him out on his channel up above. So yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say about it. His content is really fucking good. He's funny. He's a legit as shit. Like that's all I pretty much gotta say about it. So check him out and whatnot. You already know the drill. Like if you drop a like if y'all like the video. Subscribe if you like rants and discussions and reviews and quickie reviews. As I say it, like these. Subscribe if you want to stick around. Notifications every time you want to know. Every time I send a video y'all way and whatnot, and what, yeah, y'all already know it, man. I've said it 1,000 times. That's pretty much all I gotta say about him. Like always, man, I assume is watching y'all.